Hey, it's me RJB, and I'm back, and today I'm gonna cook for you something absolutely delicious. We've had these two players return from time to time. We have some videos between these two as well. These two have a lot of matches against each other. They have there's like 400, maybe 500 replays in total between these two players over the past 2 years. Maybe even 2.5 years. There's just a lot of material between these two. And in my opinion, it never gets old to watch these two play. So I really hope that, just as the image implies, one of these players is gonna have to oil up and have himself a very, very spicy experience. Oh wait, actually, no. I messed up the screen. So what happened is I started recording. I forgot to change the stuff. I know what happened is I started recording before this, and I messed up. So let me just add the names. So what happened is I started recording, and then I realized that I had a replay I had already casted before in the past. I mean, I realized like 3 minutes in, so it's not that bad. But still, you know, I had it all set up, but then I forgot to adjust things accordingly. And well, here we are with the wrong opening slide. Let me slow the slide once again. The wrong opening slide. It was supposed to be GangNamLife against 458, but you know, it's in the past. It's only a single replay after all, so a single replay. It's not going to be that painful to have the wrong slide there at the start. Maybe about midway through, or after this replay, I will decide to cast another one. Maybe. Small chance. Don't get your hopes up. But I might just throw in a second replay. And then this video will turn into a best of series. I'm kind of just like winging it. I wanted to cast something. I was bored. I just wanted to do something. And I didn't really make a plan for this video. I just grabbed a replay that seemed appealing in terms of the names involved and went for it. There's not much thought behind this video. Let's just put it like that. There's not much thought into it. I hope you like the background music. It's a little bit different from the usual. Maybe it's a little bit too loud, so I'm gonna lower the volume of the background music a little bit. Has a nice little feel to it that might maybe not entirely fit into the theme of the game, but it's nice. It's nice. Like if you look at a Marine and you've got this song on, it suddenly becomes a very different thing. It's no longer that game about war and murder. It's kind of like that, that lighthearted feel to it. Like just a Marine walking back and forth, going places. Same for the SCV there, going places. Gonna have some fun with his friends, the probes. Arriving in the base there, there's 2 gas there that he added on. He added on 2 gas. He went for the usual Nexus first build order with only a single cannon there in the front. That's quite rare. Normally 458 always goes for 2 cannons. This time around it's only a single one. That is indeed quite rare coming from him, but he's going for 3 gateways as well. But looks like GangNamLife knows exactly that he's doing exactly just that. And there's a Cybercore there on the way as well. The 3 gateways kind of tells a story that indicates that 458 can't really go that hard on the tech because he's going to need money to finance all these gateways. Though he does have a lot of probes there on the gas, so he might go for something in between the 2 most optimal options. There's some Dragoon range coming in as well. If GangNamLife finds the Dragoon range, I think he's going to adjust his plan quite rapidly. Because he's got Marines there in the front. He stopped making Marines for a little while so we could build and afford these 2 command centers there in the back, because you might as well just get your economy up and running and speed up the income if you know that your opponent has no units out on the map and cannot hurt you. So during the time that your opponent cannot hurt you, you might as well add on 2 command centers and delay your Marine production for a little while. He's getting the bunker there in the front. He is finishing up his academy soon as well. He will, of course, get Marine range first because you want range against the Dragoon range. because 458 is going for Dragoons with Dragoon range right after the first Nexus, adding on a Citadel of a Dune as well. This is a little bit different from what he's usually going for. Usually we see him either go for no Nexus and then Dragoons, like a Pylon Gateway, a Gas, well, a Pylon Gas, Gateway, Cybercore for very fast Dragoons with range, but this time around he delayed the range and went for a slower, well yeah, a slower build order basically. Where the Dragoons come out a little bit later, maybe a minute later than usual, but will still be capable of pressuring the Terran, because the Terran did exactly what most Terrans do, and that is stop their marine production for a short amount of time to save up money for 2 command centers. And that does leave them a little bit weak to this specifically, because the marine count, the number of marines, is not as high as it would usually be. Also, gateways being built here on the middle by 458, very experimental stuff coming out from him here. This is of course to close the distance, reduce the distance that units have to travel before they arrive in the enemy base. Now the range on the bunkers and the marines in the bunkers of course do keep those Dragoons away for now. He can't really commit to it or attack because the Dragoon range is about the same as the marine range when they are inside a bunker. So that's kind of offsets each other. The Dragoons are in a stalemate for now. And in order to deal with that stalemate, 458 is going even harder on the gateway unit approach. He's got Zealot Laxter on the way, level 1 attack. Well, no, not level 1 attack, he's got shields on the way. That's a very particular, specific 458 thing to do, is to get shields first. And I'm still not sure why, because it's kind of the worst upgrade out of the 3 upgrades you can get if you are committing to gateway units. You really want the weapon or the armor upgrade. The shield upgrade is one of the worst. The shield upgrade is, you know, universal. It applies to air and ground and pretty much everything. But still, if you are committing to such a gateway heavy composition of units, I do feel that shields might not be the best upgrade. With shields, as you can see, wait, let me show this. Shields have like 80. There's 80 shields, there's 100 armor. So shields do a lot less for your units. Like here's 60. 100 health, 60 shields. Shields do a lot less for your units than armor or weapons do. Yet still, he decides to go for shields. There has to be a reason for it that I'm missing. I'm just not sure what that reason is. Alright, he goes in for the attack. There's a wall here in the front. You're gonna try to break through the wall, but there's 2 tanks there, so the bunkers there as well. The fight is finally happening. The depots get taken down pretty quickly. Some Zealots try to break through, but there's so many marines and tanks here that Dragoons and gateway units are not really going to be able to break through all that quick. He gets some shots up on the tank, but he's forced to retreat as marines from the back move to the front to help with the defense. But all in all, it looks like that was held rather effortlessly. And the investment that 458 has going on right now isn't paying off all that much. He's not gaining any ground, not dealing any damage that is worth mentioning, except taking down 2 depots and maybe killing some marines, but there's no real damage suffered here for GangNamLife. Although GangNamLife has 2 low HP tanks there in the front, which if they get attacked and taken down, will completely change the result of that frontal engage. But the bunkers are getting fuller and bigger in number as well. Got a lot of tanks here in the back. He's definitely expecting drops from 458. But for once, 458 is not going drops anytime soon. About a couple of settlers there scouting, just making sure whether they can attack or cannot attack. It looks like he decides that he can't. He's got a very high supply count, but can't really break through this. Like, all it takes is for GangNamLife to move some tanks from the back to the front, and defending this would be one of the easiest things in the world. So the robos have finished. He is going for a robo strategy after all. But as I said before, they won't arrive anytime soon because he has to get all those upgrades first, and the support bay hasn't even finished yet. A lot of scans coming down all over the map looking for proxy bases or looking for shuttles. Because as I said before, he placed so many units here in the back, he is definitely expecting shuttle drops. but the shuttle drops never came. They will come sometime in the future though, but they haven't come yet, which is very uncharacteristic for a player like 458, who definitely is one of the greatest and most consistent shuttle players in all of Starcraft Fastest map. He is the one player that really knows how to use them, and use them well, and win games with them really quick. Even against some of the best players, he can win games very quick with shuttle-centric play. But he's showing a different side today. He tried to catch his opponent off guard, but looks like GangNamLife is not an opponent you can really catch off guard that easily. He's slowly growing bigger. He's got 87 SCVs, which is a very high amount of SCVs. He's got all the SCVs he needs to pretty much sate all of his mineral needs for the remainder of the game. That is, of course, if he doesn't lose any of them. If he starts losing them, he's gonna have to make new ones, of course, but right now, he's growing in size rapidly. A lot of money coming in, not enough gas coming in just yet, but that will be fixed soon as well as he adds on more refineries here on every single side of the gas line. Still a lot of units are on the middle, completely maxed out, loading up a bunch of shuttles as well. Definitely looking for a combination attack. Send in the mass, attack with the mass, and unload shuttles somewhere in the base. You can either unload them here on the choke, like you fly in with the shuttles at the same time as you're attacking with the gateway unit mass, and just drop zealots and dragoons and templars behind the bunker line and kill everything behind the bunker, and pretty much just do a pincer move on this wall here in the front and hopefully break it and not lose too many units to be able to continue that frontal attack. As what we're looking at now is a lot of gateways everywhere on the map, and a setup for a future transition into hopefully arbiters, because he does have some stargates there, usually for Corsairs. The drop comes in from the right side, starts unloading, not really successful though, because there's no Corsair to distract the turrets, so the shuttles mostly take too much damage from the Marines and from the turrets, and don't really deal any damage whatsoever. Maybe even helped GangNamLife out by clearing out some of those Marines that he no longer needs. Those Marines are going to get replaced by tanks over the next 5 or so minutes as he starts losing those Marines to drops or to units, or just starts sending them out into the middle to kill them and open up supply space. 92 SCVs completely untouched for now. 458 went for an approach that is really backfiring. It is a popular approach amongst a lot of foreign players, but this really shows what its weakness is, and that is, if a player can defend really well and knows how to construct a good wall in the front, it's really difficult to break through. Now I do have to admit, 458 is really taking his time by building everywhere. He's building cannons on the sides to try and deny all the vision that GangNamLife wants and needs. Like, he doesn't have a lot of vision on the sides, though frontal attack happening at the same time as well. He's going to unload there up on the choke. So that's a lot of units behind the choke wall. Is going to break through, it looks like it, because now the tanks behind the wall are all going down, and there's not much left to defend. A lot of units are in the back are going to move to the front, slowly but surely. The bunker repair there, though, coming in clutch, saving the day to a certain degree. EMP coming down on the Templars, but a couple of Templars didn't get EMP'd, and now a lot of units are breaking through the front, and a lot of units are moving from the back to the front here from GangNamLife, but GangNamLife might not have enough units moving to the front, as a lot of units, specifically Zealots, are just chasing down the tanks all the way to the bottom side of the base, while Dragoons are now hammering away at the front. One tank there in the front, trying his best to hammer away at the Dragoons and the Zealots, but also dealing damage to himself in the process. Marines are finally moving to the front, but there's a Templar there, or well, Templars but without energy, so they're not going to storm, but the Archon there coming in clutch with really big shots there on the Marines. The upgrades for Protoss now on 121, soon to be on 222. Air upgrades also on the way. Looks like enough tanks have spawned for now to hold this, but more is coming in, and now there's a clear open path for shuttle drops to fly in straight towards the minerals. GangNamLife pulls his minerals, his SCVs away to safety, but this shuttle is empty. So his minerals are going to get interrupted for a little while, but he isn't really in need of minerals. He's got a lot of minerals already up in the bank. Another drop there coming in. This time it's real. This time it's the real deal. Templars getting taken down before they can even storm by the Marines and the tanks. Beautifully target fired there by GangNamLife. Saves his SCVs, prevents damage, and allows himself a chance to make a comeback here after having his entire frontal portion of his base broken through brutally. 458's production is really on point here, really producing at lightning speed. Half of his base is on the middle, so it looks like his base is small, but it's actually pretty damn big. Another drop there comes in through the front. Target firing on the shuttles, trying to take it down. Starts unloading on top of all the tanks in the back there. Now storming on the SCVs. Kills about 15 of them. Now 16 of them have gone down, which is actually really beneficial for him because he simply had too many SCVs there on the minerals. But units are dying left and right. Tanks are still trying to defend their hardest. More tanks are spawning and storms coming down on the tanks. It looks like he survives yet another wave, but there's zealots somewhere on the side there killing turrets, which is slowly going to open up the side here for 458 to abuse with storms and shuttle drops. Although I think he's going to stay with flying in over the front, because flying in over the front has proven until now to yield some fruit. Although no, actually he really is going for the side. So this side line that he cleared up, he's going to try to abuse that one. Or is he going to fly all the way over the bottom side here? He's going to fly all over the bottom side there. Ready he is, flies straight in. Comes in from the angle unexpected. GangNamLife unprepared. No, he is prepared. Pulling the SVs to safety. Templar storming all over the place. Loses about another 30 of his SCVs there, but I'm not too sure if that's really how bad that is for GangNamLife. His minerals are quite low now. 48 SCVs in total. Does have 5 command centers, so that's 5 SCVs per 14 seconds, which should be a really quick recovery. But 458 is really not giving up on the pressure. He reverted back to his old playstyle of just spamming drops and spamming attacks non-stop. And he's really doing so to great success. He's really putting pressure up on GangNamLife, who is managing to recover most of his base. He managed to recover the entire front. He's got control back over his base. But 458 is still hammering away, still pressuring non-stop and clearing out those tanks up on the hills with zealot drops up onto those tanks. Tanks there got cleared out. He's going to have to put some new tanks there up on the hill, though I don't think he still has a dropship left anywhere in his base. Wait, he's got him there on the bottom side. I'm wrong. He's got one. Another drop there comes in over the front, unloads mostly on top of the tanks to force force friendly fire from his own tanks onto his tanks. Another mass stream of zealots coming in through the front door. Level 222 upgrades there from those zealots. Level 3 shields almost finished up. Templar there sneaking in, gonna storm on something. Storms on a couple of tanks. Build a lot of units. Both players now about 150 supply. Blow for blow. But GangNamLife still pushed into that corner, still pushed into that base where he is not allowed to leave and not allowed to breathe, not allowed to recover completely, not allowed to lick his wounds. The mines are in the front, definitely helping out a little bit. Zealots once again unloading on top of the tanks, bringing units everywhere. Also going to try to unload some zealots on top of those SCVs and make the tanks kill his own SCV. Gets about 16 there. So the zealot dropping technique on SCVs killed 16. It's quite a good result actually for such a cheap investment. 60 SCVs there, that definitely hurts GangNamLife. Another drop already coming in. As I said, not a moment to breathe. The attacking is non-stop and it's precise. Unloading tanks, unloading shuttles all over those tanks, keeping up the pressure in the front and in the back, being a major nuisance. He hasn't really built any structures since he started throwing this barrage of attacks, but this is classic 458. Complete and utter focus with great control on how to disassemble the opponent. And he either goes in with a single killing blow, or he slowly picks them apart with a never-ending pressure, just like this. The shuttle drops are constant, non-stop, high APM gameplay, killing units left and right, slowly reducing that supply count of GangNamLife, slowly picking away at the sides and at the core. Another storm drop comes down, storm hits, storm kills another 20 SCVs. That is a massive storm. That is an actual massive storm there that comes in at the worst possible timing for GangNamLife, as he's pretty much broke. Every single tank that he now loses, he almost cannot replace. All he can do to save this is, well, actually, there might be nothing he can do to save this. There's a small chance that if he puts his SCVs from the gas onto his minerals, that he can recover his mineral income and produce enough tanks to come back into this one, but there's just so many units in his base and so little minerals available for producing new tanks and vultures to defend with. Another drop there getting picked up, gonna try to fire that one in and storm on the minerals once again. No, he's unloading on top of the tanks, kills a single tank there with target with the friendly fire. Now Templars are rolling forward as well. Templars are storming all the tanks remaining. He's gonna storm on the SVs there as well, I think, as he's drawing closer and closer. No, he's gonna storm on SVs. GangNamLife leaves the game instead. And 458 displays that he really is really good at this specific playstyle. This is my favorite playstyle from 458. He really is very, very, very skilled at multitasking this build order and this strategy. His carrier play is also pretty damn impressive. But I like him the most when he is producing units non-stop, making shuttle drops non-stop, and keeps switching up and keeps mixing things up. Shuttle drops on tanks, shuttle drop on the minerals. He keeps alternating between the two, and he does it really, really, really well. Alternating between those two methods of shuttle use is something he honestly is probably the best player at. And of course, always that stream of units walking in through the front door, never giving his opponent even a moment of rest. GangNamLife, for a short little amount of time, managed to almost get his entire base back in order, and almost managed to secure his front once again. But even if you make a single mistake, 458 will capitalize on it and completely obliterate you. That is a fact. We've seen it happen many times before, and many times again, over and over. So you know what? I actually feel like I want to do another match. I hope game number 2. Like, I'm just gonna make this a best of something series, or just a 2-game series. I don't know. Just gonna wing it. So yeah, that game definitely turned spicy at the end. Definitely was. So yeah, let's update these names, because these names are kind of misleading as they are right now. GangNamLife. Oh, like, not life. GangNamLife. Into the middle and give a score to 458. Also update the title to Ho-Ho, because Ho-Ho is actually his old username, and GangNamLife doesn't fit in there. It just doesn't fit. It's too big, she said. It's too big, it doesn't fit. So I'm not gonna try to make it fit. Have to make do with what you've got. And we don't have a lot of room in there, so might as well not try. Right, so game number 2 is actually quite long, and I kind of like long TVP games. They're, in my opinion, kind of exciting because you wind up seeing a lot of different things. So this is going to be a 2 replay video. GangNamLife against 458, part 2. So sit tight and enjoy the ride, because we are in for an adventure. 2 players are located right next to each other. That oftentimes means that a Terran can potentially take away the game with some abusive hill play. Now, I don't want to say that that's what's going to happen, but we've seen it happen in the past, where the hill in between the 2 bases is utilized to get control and kind of spot abuse. So it's pretty much the only real imbalance on the map. The hills and tanks. The hills have tanks. They don't have eyes, but they do have tanks. A lot of them. But, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Because first, GangNamLife has to get the room. He has to get the room and the space and the time to pull off hill tanks play. If you can't get your tanks up on the hill, or if you cannot push an advantage, or if you are constantly pushed back into a corner, the hills are not going to provide much support or protection or opportunity to abuse the Protoss mineral line with tanks slowly encroaching. So, to focus back on the match itself, we've got a 2 gateway into a Nexus build order from 458, which means we're going to be seeing some slight Zealot harassment here. Now I do think that GangNamLife, with his great Marine Micro, will be able to fend this off just completely fine. As you see right there, that really precise Marine control from him allows him to keep the Marine alive. Although he did lose one, the other one stays alive. Now back on the attack, pushing his advantage, even puts the Marine all the way in the back to make sure that it stays alive and gets maximized damage for a longer amount of time. GangNamLife has pretty great control and awareness of where his units are, and which units are on low HP. Usually we don't see a Protoss getting pushed back into their own base by Marines, even if the Protoss is on 2 gateways, but in this case, GangNamLife effortlessly pushes back 458 to his own base. He made some gateways here in the front to buy himself some time to get those cannons up in the back and get more zealots out on the map. But it looks like, I don't want to call it too early, but the zealots actually blocking off the escape path and getting on top of the Marines. The Marines now returning fire though onto those zealots and in the end win the exchange, but the canister in the back are close to finishing and 2 more zealots have spawned. But I think he's going to be able to buy just enough time with those 2 zealots to protect those cannons and make sure they finish. And indeed he does. The cannons finish just in time, and GangNamLife doesn't find a way into 458 space. It was really close though. It's closer than you can imagine, but the control of GangNamLife there with the Marines really set him up for that almost break attempt. So 458, knowing that he failed to really do anything with a 2 gateway build order there, goes for a 3rd Nexus because I assume he wants to really speed up his economy. He lost a lot of time there, being forced to build his cannons a lot earlier than he usually intends to. His gas got delayed, so he needs more probes on the gas to catch up to where he wants to be. And to have more probes, you need of course another Nexus. And that's why the Nexus is coming out there. Cybercore almost finished, adding on more gateways as well, which is very unorthodox to go for this many gateways this early on this build order. But as we saw last game, he also went for a very heavy gateway build order, although he started off with a different order at the start, with a forge, with a Nexus into a forge instead of 2 gateways into a Nexus. So there's slight variations here and there from 458. Once again moves out with some zealots to attack the Marines there. During this entire period of time, GangNamLife has not really made any Marines. He's invested all of his minerals into, well, making a factory, getting 2 command centers, getting an academy, and getting 3 starports. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Sometimes players don't even get a single starport and they just go for 2 factories and more barracks. But GangNamLife going for 3 starports means we're in for something slightly different from what I was expecting. But both players are actually both doing things slightly different from how I envisioned it. But one thing I'm sure about though is this is going to be a lot of action. Because here we've got 4 robos. 4 robos. That means we're going to be looking at drop extra, always stimming into the middle, scaring those zealots away. Knows not to lose any of his Marines in the process, so 458 getting punished there slightly for putting his zealots a little bit too aggressively. Although you wouldn't normally expect the Terran to move out that aggressively with the Marines just to kill some zealots. Most of the time they're a little bit more passive because at around this time in the game you can expect Reavers with shuttles, and they could potentially kill all your Marines. But GangNamLife took the chance, took the opportunity, and went in for some abuse. He scanned the base, though I'm a little bit too late with highlighting what he scanned, so I can't cue you in on what GangNamLife knows. But I'm sure he scanned the front here, saw maybe 3 of the robos, maybe the 4th one as well. It really depends on how much he could see. But he's got rates to fight against shuttles. Now of course the rate number is a little bit too low to really kill the shuttles as they fly in, but at least he got himself some vision up on the hills, and he's building himself a wall in the front to really fend off those frontal attacks. Although unlike last game, there's not as much of a wall yet, but I think he knows exactly what 458 is doing, because he scanned a couple of times, and with a couple of scans you can get a lot of information. Shuttle tries to fly in on the bottom side, but gets intercepted by the raids, so the raids in the end, leaving their posts to kill the shuttle and save the day and prevent any damage from happening whatsoever. But the very first attack there from 458 doesn't really achieve anything, although it's a second attack, but it doesn't really achieve anything. Another important detail that I want to add here is that he's going for very fast carriers. Because if you are in a situation such as this, where the Terran can theoretically abuse and use the hill to place tanks on, and then put tanks on the low ground and then push towards your probes, the only real way to deal with it is either you land a massive shuttle drop, or you go for carriers, which can protect this entire section really easily. Scan comes out, he didn't see the stargates, so that's a big little thing of information he's missing. But he did find that mass shuttle drop with reavers being prepared here on the side. Now he's still making raids. He doesn't have that many structures in the back. He's really spending all of his minerals on this frontal wall, on upgrades, on a fourth command center, and on turrets on the side. So the minerals are not yet really going towards army size. But he does have a high amount of raids, and that high amount of raids, I do feel, can kill a couple of shuttles. But 458 knows what to do with stargates before he gets the carriers. Does get the fleet beacon finished and interceptor capacity on the way. But before he starts the carriers, he is getting Corsairs, because Corsairs are damn strong against raids. And he also has an Observer, because Observers can detect Cloak, and Cloaked raids against Corsairs that are detected are kind of shit. Sorry, just sort of use the word, but that's kind of true. They're kind of weak, but he flies in over the top side. Their raids are not yet going into intercept. This wants to unload. Yes, he's going to unload there on the top corner. No, he's going to fly in all the way, because now the raids are incapable of really killing all of the shuttles, but the shuttles are now unloading right next to the command center. He's going to fire on the command center. He's going to fire to kill. He's going to kill the SVs. SVs are running away. SVs are surviving, though. Raids only kills a couple of them, kill about 11 of them. Now they are going for more SVs that he can find everywhere, but in the end, it looks like the drop, 458 wasn't sure what to do. He wanted to fly in, but saw no raids, so he thought the raids were, located on the wrong side of the base. But then the raids went in, and he decided to turn around. But then, after turning around, he decided, wait, I can't unload here. There's sieged up tanks, and they would kill my drop pretty much instantly. Oh, there comes another drop. Raids. Alright, he's once again doing some tricky stuff. Oh, it's empty shuttles. It's empty shuttles. Great control there on the raids, though. Great job there from GangNamLife. Also tried to sneak in the Observer, but they got scanned by GangNamLife, so that's also killed immediately. So GangNamLife is still steadily progressing. A small little interruption there, but it's just a small little interruption. It's really nothing to worry about. We have more Corsairs on the way. Still no carriers, although he does have carrier upgrades on the way. He's got level 1 armor and weapon finish for air. Shields also already being researched. More Corsairs being added on. Still preparing drops. Drop gets scanned. The amount of raids is now pretty significantly high, but he's already in the process of replacing them with raids. Drop comes in from the bottom side there. Raids going to intercept the shuttle. Shuttles all getting taken down by the raids before they can even unload. And once again, another failed drop attempt from 458. So GangNamLife shows us that he is pretty good at defending. In the first game, it all didn't quite work out, but in the end, this game might actually do the trick. He starts unloading on the side, but everything goes down before it can even damage. The rears went down. The Zealots, though, are killing the turrets. He's just focusing on the turrets. He wants to open up a hole on the side, slowly breach his way in. Another scan comes out. Let's see what he scanned. He scanned the Stargates, which you can kind of conclude that there's a very high amount of Corsairs, but I didn't see the Stargates on my first scan of the base. So they have to be coming from somewhere. So he scanned this side portion as well and did indeed find Corsairs there. 458 trying another shuttle drop, because it is not yet time to switch over into carriers. Although I do feel that carriers probably won't achieve all that much against this many raids and Valkyries. Flies in, the shuttles go down pretty much instantly though. No, a couple of them stay alive, almost flies in all the way, but nope, not reaching the end goal. Doesn't reach the end goal, and more Valkyries are spawning on the way. GangNamLife is pretty much maxed out. But do notice that GangNamLife's playstyle, he's got so many raids and Valkyries that he doesn't really have much power or ability to move out and attack. He's got a lot of anti-air, but attacking is not something that he can do. Almost no tanks, almost no marines. He's pretty much forced himself into a purely defensive state of play. Another drop there coming in from the bottom side there. Maybe it will work this time around. Flies into a single Valkyrie. Valkyries are moving as quick as they can. Shuttles are going to try to intercept. Kills one shuttle. Second shuttle there arriving on the scene. Storms are unloading. Templars storming on the minerals. And that's all the SCVs have gone down instantly. Went down from 87 to 31. It wasn't 82. Bottom line is though, we killed about 51 SCVs with a single storm. Because I'm not quite sure why GangNamLife put all of his raids and Valkyries on one side of his base instead of splitting them up. But putting them all on one side of his base opened up the bottom side for 458 to fly in from. But because GangNamLife pretty much has all the units he already needs to defend, I don't think he's going to be in much trouble, because he also has 4 command centers, going to be pretty quick to rebuild his SCVs, got upgrades on the way for everything as well, level 1-1 for air, level 1-2 for ground, level 0-1 for his marines, still has the marines alive there in the back, just in case he needs them. This time around he's placing his raids and his Valkyries on 2 separate locations. Carriers are on the way for 458, he's got, I want to see the upgrades, but I cannot find Corsairs. I can find some shuttles though, but they are full, so I cannot see the upgrades. Kind of inconvenient that you cannot see the upgrades if there's something in the shuttle. Maybe this one? Level 1 armor for air, level 2 shields, and also level 2 attack, I assume. So soon to be on level 3 shields, level 3 armor, and level 3 weapon for his carriers. A couple of carriers are on the top side, gonna try to fly in, but there's so many Valkyries there, this is never gonna work. But this is of course a distraction tactic to allow the shuttle on the bottom side to fly in. We've reached the 15-minute mark. Drop comes in from the bottom side. Carriers on the top side are retreating because they've taken too much damage. And he's splitting up his shuttles because he flew straight into Valkyries. And Valkyries, of course, are the natural predator of the shuttle. So just gonna kill some units and turrets on the bottom side. And prepare himself for, I think, even more carriers as 5 more of them are on the way. Slowly but surely progressing into that carrier mass, although I do think he really needs an arbiter. But I don't see an arbiter wait, there it is. There it is. He's got stasis on the way as well. But he started right when I said it. Likewise minds think alike. Although I don't quite think like 4 of 8. I think he's way smarter than I am. Way better than I am. But yeah, you got 2 arbiters on the way, and arbiters are really, really strong against Valkyries, because you can just lock them into a stasis, and they take up a lot of supply. They honestly really do. And once you've got those Valkyries locked into stasis, they pretty much deal no damage at all, because, well, they can't fight back. And the worst part of it all is you cannot replace them. They are completely useless. Still only on about 9 or so tanks? Yeah, that's actually 9 tanks, and still about 24 marines left alive there in the base. A lot of raids, a lot of Valkyries. He really is going all in on defending against the carriers. Although I do think that he could have maybe switched over into a ground force. Because, as I mentioned before, there's not a lot of ground fighting power. There's pretty much only anti-air. But he decided on carriers, so carriers it is. He is making a proxy gateway base here though. He's also getting mind control, but I really hope he doesn't get to use it. A lot of shield batteries as well, because shield batteries are great against Valkyries, because the carriers tend to lose their shields on every single attempt or attack. So if you attack and then leave and then recover the shields, your carriers can pretty much stay alive forever. As long as you keep restoring the shields as long as you don't get caught off guard by an EMP and a mass Valkyrie killing all your carriers, which I do think might happen sometime in this game. 97 probes still, that's a very high amount of probes. He can kill about 40 of them and he'll still be fine, considering he's got carriers, and carriers are not that mineral intensive. Plus he's got like 12k in the bank. So storming himself would actually be quite great. So GangNamLife built a lot of turrets, and he's got a lot of Valkyries. I don't really expect these carriers to achieve much. But he's going in. Now we've got the Raids as well, joining the fight, straight going for the Arbiter. Just trying to throw away the Raids while achieving something, but the Arbiter there stays alive with a lot of HP left, almost took no damage whatsoever. Now the Valkyries are hammering away on the... Oh, there comes the Stasis. Beautiful Stasis there. Now the carriers are going to try to go in deeper and deeper, but I do think they're taking a little bit too much damage because there's still a lot of Valkyries left alive, and the carriers are slowly going down, but now they are arriving all the way in the back, going straight for the command center, but I do think that GangNamLife might keep that command center alive here in the back, though. Is it going to go down? It's getting repaired pretty quick, and the Valkyries are all going down so damn quick because the Valkyries simply did too much damage, and that is a major, enormous miscalculation there from 458, trying to go for the command center, but failing in the end. And that means we're now seeing all those dead Raids being replaced by tanks, and dead Marines also being replaced by tanks, as GangNamLife is maxed out on upgrades. Well, almost maxed out on upgrades. His air is on level 2-2, but soon on 3-3, and same for his ground, which is on 2-3, soon to be on 3-3. Now gonna kill those bunkers in the front and open up a hole so we can move out and attack. But GangNamLife is facing a mass gateway proxy base that can replace carriers the moment they all die, and also has to fight his way through these cannons here before he can break into 458's base. What I really respect though about GangNamLife's gameplay this game though is that he didn't choose to abuse the hill to get close to the probes. That's something that's always a little bit... I mean, it's difficult to do, but it just feels so strong. Way too strong. Anyway, he's moving out into the middle, and he's not facing any opposition because the carriers that were just lost are still under construction, and then they of course also have to make their interceptors, so it's going to take a while before 458 can fight back. A lot of zealots are spawning on the side though, so he's going to be able to fight back soon with a pretty strong force of units. But he's still facing a giant mammoth, and that is 97 probes on his own mineral count, which is really, really hurting his army size. His army size is much too small. Sends in some zealots. Zealots are getting on top of the tanks and now breaking through the frontal tank line there in the front, but the upgrades on the zealots are not that great. They're on level 131. Level 2 for armor and weapon are on the way though, but GangNamLife approaching and getting closer to that choke here, finally hammering away on the cannons, but the carriers have arrived to save the day. But I do expect that we're going to be seeing some Valkyries moving from the back to the front here to kill the Arbiters and kill the carriers and save the day, but maybe GangNamLife is being a bit wary. Valkyries are moving forward. No energy for Stasis. Oh wait, no, he's got a lot of energy for Stasis. Stasis is one half of the Valkyries, but another half is still alive. And all the... Oh, yeah, he gets a couple of them, but not a lot of them. But there's another Arbiter, almost with energy. Then he got a couple more Valkyries there in the back. All Stasis up, but more Valkyries are arriving on the scene. He's simply got too many Valkyries for a 458 to deal with. Another Stasis comes down, but now as all the Stasi have run out, the real Valkyrie army comes in to save the day and kill the carriers. But now we've got Zealots joining the fray and Archons as well. Looks like we are currently in somewhat of a stalemate, and there's like 50 supply here stuck in stasis. Another Arbiter comes forward, and another stasis is thrown down on the army of GangNamLife. But the Valkyries are simply killing interceptors too quick. Another Arbiter. He's got so many Arbiters reserved, spread out everywhere over the map. But as I said before, his army is too small. He's got too many minerals. He's got too many probes. Please kill some probes. With 97 probes, you're not going to be able to fight against a Terran army that has 63 STBs. That is a 36 worker difference. And that's 36 supply less. An army And it's really gonna hurt him. It's gonna hurt him a lot. Dark Templars, they're tearing through the ground force, and this might turn the tide for now. As GangNamLife is relying on scans, he doesn't have EMPs, he's relying on scans to save the day, and they do actually kill all the Dark Templars, but the Dark Templars have already cleared out all the Marines, and all the Valkyries are still stuck in stasis. He lost half of his Valkyries to the carriers, and the carriers in the end do drive GangNamLife back into his base. But now the Valkyries are on the return. The Valkyrie strikes back. The Empire is returning and taking down the carriers. Though the carriers are dying slowly but surely, very slowly but surely, but now they are getting replaced by gateway units and reavers and coursers as well. So it looks like the Valkyries in the end. Not sure who's going to win this. We have a couple of carriers left alive here with very little HP, but so do the Valkyries. And the Valkyries in the end do go down, but more Valkyries are coming in to reinforce. We got mass Goliaths, mass tanks entering the middle to turn the tide of the fight. Looks like 458 stormed his own probes to save up some to open up some supply space because he's got so many minerals. But he's running out of gas pretty quick, though. He's replacing his entire carrier army with gateway units because he simply does not have the time to replace the carriers. Because GangNamLife is already knocking on his front door and breaking through. Goliaths are in the base right now. He throws in a scan because he's expecting Dark Templars to defend. But little does he know, there is a massive second proxy base here that is going to stab him in the back. Oh no, he knows it's there. He knows it exists. He scouts it with the Valkyries. The Valkyries are going to be hunting for something to kill, though they don't know that there's a proxy robo base here as well. So now he's breaking in through the front door with mass tanks, mass Goliaths, and they're killing everything he can see. Arbiter is going down. Valkyries are there to protect, but there's nothing to protect those tanks from because simply nothing is getting close enough. Nothing is getting close enough. So tearing through the frontal portion, we've got a mass drop there moving out. 458 going across the bottom of the map, going to fly over the bottom side of GangNamLife's base. And GangNamLife currently has pretty much nothing in his base to defend, but he is pretty damn rich. Got 12,000 minerals, almost 8,000 gas, and he's slowly but surely killing 458, who is running out of minerals very quick, already down from 19,000 to 11,000. He's spending his minerals very quick, but a mass drop there comes in unchallenged. His bees are running to safety though, but there's so many reavers unloading right on top of the command centers. He's lifting them up. Instead of losing them, might as well just lift them all up and prevent losing them. But that opens up the opportunity for 458 to spam out Dark Templars, but he's not. He's sticking to the Zealots and the Dragoons. Even though 458 can currently, even though GangNamLife can currently not use any scans whatsoever. Mass gateway units there though, spreading out over the middle of the map and going in for the attack to save the base. As the base is going down very slowly, he's getting on top of the tanks, getting on top of, ooh, great defensive matrix there, but will it make a difference? Zealots come streaming in, getting on top of the tanks, clearing out most of them. They're on the middle, but all the tanks are so spread out in the end that the siege here will continue. The reavers in the back have almost all been killed. 49 SCVs still alive against 47 probes. Another, he's no longer making a mass drop, he's just completely committing to making gateway units. Now gonna lose the probes as well though, as GangNamLife is approaching. We killed one half of the probes, only 26 left alive. Killed the remaining as well, only 2 left alive. And they're here in this proxy base where he's now building another set of Nexi to hopefully stay alive. Zealots are entering the middle, getting on top of those Goliaths, cutting off their escape path and killing them surely, but slowly as well. Although the fight does go in favor of GangNamLife once again, as the tanks past the hill provide just enough firing support to save the day. Well, that's a little bit dramatic, don't you think? Save the day? Let's just say win the battle. Small battle, but the war is not yet won. Although 458 is running out of minerals, only 5 probes left. He's trying to save the day here. He's trying to turn this around. But it looks like GangNamLife is just gonna... I don't think he's got much of a chance anymore. GangNamLife is just so comfortable here. He's so comfortable. He's got so many command centers, so much minerals So many tanks and Goliaths. He scanned the entire map. He's preparing himself for the attack. Got about 160 supplying units from 458. Although this is about 100 supplying units. The rest is still in the gateways, tries to go in, but tanks past the hill are ruining the attack. They're tripping out the zealots, making them trip out and try to aggro the tanks behind the hill. And it really forces them to take simply too much damage. Way too much damage has been taken by those zealots and dragoons. He's going to clear out these tanks here in the base, but this base is already forfeit. There's nothing left, nothing remaining, as the last couple of thousands of minerals sinking into gateway units are lost slowly but surely. Almost nothing remains. He's made a couple of probes there though. He's got 11 now, but he's out of minerals. He's pretty much out of minerals. He does have some units still queued up, still has some fighting power, but the fighting power is negligible. There's almost nothing left. He's gonna try though. He's gonna try. He has to try. He has to try and make this work. The tanks are entering the middle and slowly setting up a zone of control of siege tanks preparing to fight against the dragoons and zealots. 458 is splitting up his units, trying to get himself as best of a situation as he can possibly give himself. Drop comes in. The drop made its way in. Reavers are unloading. Reavers are shooting on the SCVs. All the SCVs go down. All of the SCVs are dead and gone. I'd say that's exactly what he needed, but it might be a little bit too late. Raids and Valkyries running back to base. A lot of tanks that are exposed on the middle. We've got a small mass of gateway units waiting to strike. This is a pretty good defensive line. Tanks are unseating. Tanks are rolling forward. The frontal tank sieging up. Slowly and methodically. Not making any mistakes. Not taking any risk whatsoever. Slowly crawling forward. 458 now on 38 probes. Running out of gas and minerals, but slowly earning new ones. Some units getting drawn into the fight there by accident. This is a lot of tanks. He's got a lot of tanks. He's not replacing any of his SCVs. He's content with the 15 that remain. And he's simply queuing everything up into more tanks and raids. It's going to be 15 workers and 185 in army supply. 458 tries one last desperate effort to get a surround, to get his flank on the tanks in the middle, but the tanks in the middle are fully upgraded and too darn strong. Storms come down on the tanks, but no, this is not going to work, my friend. This is it. This is the end. Dark Temples come out just in time. It's going to try, but GangNamLife has got a lot of scans, so this is going to be a futile last-ditch effort. The scans are not... Oh, come on, scan them, scan them. GangNamLife's... Yeah, there's the scan. And he's going to do it. After 31 minutes. How much longer is 458 going to stretch this out? Well, by 1 second it appears. But it appears that GangNamLife takes home the victory in game number 2 today. Quite convincingly. He played this one really well. 458 could never really achieve much. He did make some mistakes though with the Valkyries there. I mean the carriers at the start. Well, not at the start, about halfway in the game. When he forced his carriers into GangNamLife's base. And they all died without killing the command center. Yeah, nothing went as 458 wanted it to. Everything backfired. And GangNamLife just displayed a really solid defense. A really solid defense. Made pretty much no mistakes except for one slip-up when he had all of his anti-air units located on the left side of his base, and the drop was coming in from the bottom side. I mean the right side of his base. And the drop came in from the bottom side on the left. That's the only mistake he ever really made. But the mistake wasn't as costly as to losing the game. Yeah, just enough to hang in there, to survive without really taking any more damage. And then you could easily strike back, once given the opportunity. So nice 2-game series here. I mean, there's a lot more games in this series, but they're all really long. These two players just have really, really long games on average. So I'm not going to cast the entire set. It would be too many games. It would take too long to do. It's one of the downsides of fastest maps. Sometimes games can go really, really, really long if players are somewhat evenly matched. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the match. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you had some fun. And I hope you return once again in the future to be entertained once again by me, RJB, for RJB TV.